Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Why, hello there. Welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. And this is our newest video. This was a Patreon exclusive. We had another Patreon exclusive 2 days ago that I thought was a real pot stirrer, talking about the quote-unquote Messiah or Antichrist. I guess it's a matter of perspective. Everything is a matter of perspective. And, again, Patreon exclusives every couple days, really, pretty much, twice a week minimum.
We do our best.
We do our best, and it's going to be a challenging time for many people in many different ways. We actually have a lot of projects going on. Here you see you have a 4.2 over in California. A little bit on the larger side, 6.9 kilometers deep. Certainly it's no great quake, but is it something that's a harbinger of things to come? That's the question mark. Been watching a good deal of activity up in Washington for quite a while now. And a lot of people are, of course, expecting Cascadia or the San Andreas to go. Meanwhile, we have this mega flood that I think has perplexed people because perhaps it could be that the worst hit place from the hurricane that landed in landfall in Florida is literally the Asheville, North Carolina area. It's one of the hardest hit places.
Isn't that really strange? It's almost like it was targeted for some reason.
Yeah, and I did live in this area for about a year, and this is actually where Cindy and I first were getting together and getting acquainted. Interestingly enough, Asheville is a interesting place. It has a unique vibe for sure. Beautiful. It's set up there in the mountains in the Appalachians. Right now they have no water. A lot of people have no power. It's just crazy. And, again, National Guard all over the area. As you see U-Hauls sitting there. And you see Asheville's getting the same treatment as Maui from our government, according to this person. I want to point out, too, that Israel's getting $8.7 billion in military equipment. And let's see how much money really gets spent to, again, support the citizens everywhere from Florida to North Carolina, Tennessee, everywhere in between. South Carolina was pretty hard hit, too, in some ways, from this storm. Chances are it's going to be nothing compared to, the amount of money that they dedicate to really helpful things, life-saving things, is nothing compared to the money that goes towards death and destruction and killing and warfare.
I'm definitely not a tax expert at all, but I'm going to throw it out there because maybe there is something that could be done with the tax money that gets sent overseas. I don't know if there is the ability to write money off and send it directly to somebody that you know and trust there and then use that as a write-off. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe there's a way to redirect that energy. I'll just call it energy because that's what it is. These people need help, and other people need help as well. Everybody needs help, but we should take care of our home. This is right here in all of our front yards. The other thing I mentioned the other day, but I want to mention it again, is about septic systems. The sewer, everything could be overflowing, and this water could really make people sick. So I just want to encourage people to be very careful about the water that you're drinking. Know if you're wading through water doing things, just make sure you're doing something like oregano is a really good parasite cleanse. Other things can make sure that you stay free of parasites, and other things as well. In that video we did on Patreon, that stuff, I believe it's illegal in the area. That can even help with malaria. It's really good for the immune system. So just keep your immune system up. Eat as healthy as possible. That's another thing I should probably point out. Be careful what you're being given from these places, because the food that's being shelled out in large quantities might not be the best. Hopefully you have some organic rice. I'd rather eat organic rice than something in a package.
Well, yeah, and again, as we've talked about the nutritional aspects, there are no essential carbs, but there are essential amino acids and essential fatty acids. So again, proper nutrition, as Cindy is saying, is so key, especially in these times when our immune systems are being tested. As you can see, a military helicopter here coming into Hickory Regional Airport. Boone, very hard hit. Again, National Guard is everywhere. It feels like a apocalyptic movie over there, so say so many of the family members. I've lived in all three, Asheville, Charlotte, and also over in Wilmington. I love North Carolina. It is one of my favorite states. I think it is one of the most diverse and beautiful places in the country. Very, very hard hit. We could add so many other places to places that have been just pummeled in recent years. Many people think that the tribulation period started back in 2017, and perhaps it's ending this time, or is it just going to begin now? You have to prepare for the worst, hope for the best, put out your positive frequencies, but at the same time prepare. Coincidentally, electric vehicle boom and other booms are bringing lithium mines back to North Carolina. And this is in the Piedmont. So again, this is the area between, say, Charlotte over to Raleigh up to, before you get to the mountains of Asheville. So coincidentally, a lot of lithium mining there. Not all the locals are happy about it. We've seen that there's lithium mining going on in Idaho, where it was having all those issues with water and not giving the farmers water for their food, but there was a lot of water being diverted for the lithium mining. There's a realization that's very, very hard for a lot of people to accept. In fact, a lot of people will not accept it because it will be making their reality way too uncomfortable for them to handle. As you see this massive protest, this is Serbia. Citizens rallying against lithium mining project involving Rio Tinto and BlackRock. BlackRock. There's a BlackRock on Trump Tower. I'm just saying, there's BlackRocks out in front of BlackRock buildings. There's a BlackRock out in front of the UN building. In fact, there's these things that tie together. There's BlackRock in Mecca. Yeah, the Kaaba. Look at the Kaaba. It looks like a black rock. In fact, New Jerusalem looks like a golden rock coming out of the sky. But the parameters of it are such that it's a ginormous mothership. When they tell us that Comet C 2023 A3, Shukinson, how would you say that? Shuchasan? Yeah, Shuchasan Atlas can be, and probably will be, the comet of the year. Well, we had that other comet, didn't we, back in April? I think, again, I might have been off by 6 months in my timing. Yet at the same time, I think timelines can change. They're always changing, in fact. So, we can see that we have a lot of things we have to deal with. And this comet is absolutely at least a curiosity. This article is from 2 days ago, and it was saying, could you possibly see it tonight? Well, the reality is when you get to a magnitude of about 4, it's usually going to be visible to the naked eye. And this comet is visible from the southern hemisphere. It's going to be being made visible in the northern hemisphere as well. Right now, it's very close to the sun, and the light from the sun is kind of obscuring it. But interestingly enough, this may end up being naked eye visible for quite a while. And starting about 10 days or so after the event of Yom Kippur, where we have, again, you can't make this stuff up because it's completely, in my mind and Cindy's mind, all orchestrated. We have another eclipse. So here we are, we're basically about 6 months away from the last eclipse and comet that seemed to coincide. And, it felt like that was big and it was going to be a big harbinger. This feels the same, but maybe we're all a little, punch shy now because, the big things didn't manifest, even though big things have been constantly manifesting, because you certainly can't call what we just saw not a big thing. And there's been so many other floods and, earthquakes and so many different things happening. So this is going to go through, again, look towards the Big Dipper here. It's going to be going right through the constellation of Virgo. And comet, maybe naked eye visible and maybe for a while. When I saw this, look at this. You see how it's passing? October 11th, I don't know how to put this. It looks like it might be a seed going to be laid, so to speak, in the Virgin. Now, doesn't that ring bells? Think about that. When do we talk about this before? Well, we talked about this a little while ago, back in 2017. By the way, don't forget, South Africa has ancient gold mines that are hundreds of thousands of years old. Were we mining those gold mines hundreds of thousands of years ago, given the history books that we have? And by the way, this is dated 2017. Yeah, Michael Tellinger is one that's done a ton of work on this. Again, there's evidence of mining all over the planet. All over Nevada, all over the American Southwest. But, I digress, because let's go back to September 2017, the Revelation 12 sign. Yeah, this was, again, once in 7,000 years. Everything's coming together now. Oh, by the way, that comet, they said the last time it was here was 80,000 years ago. How do they know that? Are they just pulling things out of their butt? I think, in a tongue-in-cheek way, they understand this comet it's not a icy snowball, it's a ship. Of course it's a ship. And then they think, oh, well, you're crazy. Look at Heaven's Gate people that thought it was an extraterrestrial ship going to take them away. Yeah, there are a lot of people that are led astray by the Draco, but I think no more in such a huge way than those of the organized religion perspective. Because, we got to view this as an act of God, because what else could it be? Just radio the ship, tell them to start coming now. They know the schedule. This is really the reality of what we have going on here. It's always been aliens. It's always been extraterrestrials. And in fact, those stories, again, from Sumeria tell us that they view us as the slaves to work the planet, to work the mines. That is the reality. We're still working those mines. We're still under their control geopolitically. The humans that are in charge just report to the non-humans.
So, the way I look at it, I see these storms and I really don't feel that they're just natural from Earth in any way, shape, or form. I do believe that they come from these controlling entities who work with, a few select humans. And, as far as them showing themselves in open form, I think they understand how humans can go into shock. And then if humans are in shock, they're not going to get a whole lot done out of them. It's better that they continue to stay out of sight. But, when you look at this stuff closely and how things line up and the things that happen and all the coincidences, after a while, you really just have to start to question the coincidences. How could this all just be random? And all of the watching the stars and their placements and the comets, the so-called comets that come through. Also, the comet that's coming through, it's not on the same timeline. It has not had time. It doesn't see time the same way we see time. It's coming from a different area. So there is that, and it's in the fall, are they going to come and do some type of harvest? What are they harvesting? I think it's going to be a lot of human energy if we allow it, period. It's up to us. Do we want to keep our energy to ourselves and keep building our own our own world, our own kingdom that we came here to build, or are we going to keep shelling out our energy to them? And how are we going to be directing our energy? And I think it really needs to be toward each other, to help each other through everything that we're going through, because it has not been an easy 7 years. It's been pretty tough for a lot of people, and it doesn't look like it's getting any easier. So I don't think that 7-year turbulation is up. In fact, it could very well just be starting. But what do we do with that? If you could get lemons, you make lemonade. You figure out something good about it and you make it better. There are ways if we just open our imagination and release ourselves from everything that we've been taught and indoctrinated with.
Well, lemons and lemonade could alkalize us. That's good.
Yes.
It's going to bring us into a good pH range to help us fight disease. Again, this is the bigger revelation. When people do use the terms that the controllers give us, and they do as they're taught to do in the mainstream systems, they are literally giving them power, and the controllers will say to other, they'll use that in their conversations with other more advanced civilizations. They'll say, well, people worship us. They call out to us all the time. Because, again, when the Anunnaki came through and wanted to channel through Cindy, the way they introduced themselves is, we are the gods of your Old Testament. This is who we are. We are, the same as the ones from your Greek mythology. This is who they are. The Greco-Roman gods, the, gods of the Old Testament, because, again, it's all been changed in order to paint this picture. So when you look at this, again, how it has to be a miracle. No, it's just simply ETs doing what they told us they're going to do. Now, at the same time, Earth's going to get that second mini moon for 2 months, and I look at the faces of the news people that are giving us this info, and are they trying not to smile? I mean, there's a little confused look on her face there. We're going to have a mini moon for 2 months, then it's going to go away. They say this is normal. It's a ship docking. Hello. This is the reality. This is how they hide these things, and people fall for it. And yet you got to wonder, well, why did the head of the Eastern Orthodox Church, the Pope, high party officials from both Democrats and Republicans, other presidents and all, go down into Antarctica back in 2016. They just were all sightseeing at the same time. No, they're going down there to meet and get directions on what the plan is for the next 7 years. As they know, again, that there are, again, these treaties that are not made by Homo sapiens sapiens that are up. And one of them is up in, from what we've gotten, June, solstice, summer solstice 2025. So when you see things like the D, A, G, and L numbers, those are basically that side saying, this is what we will do if you don't go along with our demands. And yet there are absolutely other extraterrestrials out there that are not of the Galactic Federation, which is mostly fifth density beings that you would only perceive as lights. You would perceive them maybe as Merkabas and light ships, unless they intentionally lowered their frequency so they appeared more solid. But there are other extraterrestrials that are more in the 4D reality that hate what's going on. In fact, really do push back against the system. 90% of the Grand Canyon is restricted. All these reports, again, of Egyptian artifacts, Tibetan artifacts, you can't go in there. Also reports of giants and caves and reptilian cities underground from this area here in the Grand Canyon all the way over to Los Angeles, because, the Native Americans knew there were reptilian cities under Los Angeles. This is why they built Los Angeles where they did. So they have direct control over the frequency there. And this is why Hollywood is anything but holy.
I know it's definitely not what we're taught. We're not just given this information, the truth, right out the gates. Right out the gates, we're given information that's convenient for them to keep us under control. If they know exactly how the pyramids were made, these controllers do. It's the information's there, all under the Vatican, and there are some very coveted places around the planet where there's more information about the seeding of Earth, which was a really big deal. And our history is kept there, and it's kept from us. We have a right to see that history because it's part of us. It explains who we are. As far as our energy is concerned, so many of us, we're in these smaller human bodies, but I assure you, we come from a very giant type of a stature, and some of us got stuffed in these little bodies, and it is very difficult, and it can become problematic. It can become very, very difficult having so much energy stuffed in a little bitty body. So, but we did come here to expand that light and help other people.
Yeah, this one was, I thought, really important to get across. They play people, and people know who okay, so it's actors, right? We understand that politicians are no different than what we see in Hollywood. No different. And so they all want to play the leading role. So you have these cast of characters that understand the roles. Well, do they want to be the Messiah? Do they want to be the Antichrist? And again, which role do they want? They want the big roles. These are people with big egos. So they want the leading role. And, the thing is that the dark side, they play with them. They play with, what we see as our leaders. Again, they're nothing more than just simply middlemen puppets. They play with them and whisper to them, "Great things are coming for you, Benjamin. Great things are coming for you, Javier." This is what they do. They are that Satan whispering, all this I will give you. Again, they inflate them. They use their egos, and then they know the script. So, I would say, I bet you, and I hope it's not going to happen, but I bet you after Lebanon, Syria will probably be next. And there is a prophecy of the destruction of Damascus by Israel. And, I would think that is something that will be carried out. And I would think that you're looking at one of the people that's going to make that happen. Isn't it interesting that he's in this position right now when he was in danger of being ousted by his own people right before the war happened?
It's about that ego. That ego is something that they definitely use to help people, to help control people. They inflate that ego, and then they direct them, and they're able to lead them in any way that they want to lead them. And they tell them, they whisper in their ear, "Oh, you are this great being. Oh, yes, it's you." And many times a human being cannot resist that egoic type of inflation, and it can bring a lot of damage. But this little puppy here, no, he's not egoic. He wants something very simple. He just wants to cool off, and he's going to use his whatever is around him to do it. He's a good boy.
Well, he looks like he kind of blends in well.
He does. Cute.
As always, guys, we thank you for your support over on Ko-Fi and Patreon. To make an appointment with us, reach out to us at evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com. The information's on every single video. Stay prepared. Keep putting out your positive intentions, and keep awakening others. Because again, when humanity starts to unite at a certain rate, and I don't know what that number is, but you get a certain proportion of the humans on Earth rejecting the system, then it opens the door for other benevolent beings to help us out in a little bit more obvious manner.
Keep going. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.